a toilet that I got from the blue drop on the way out and farmed a few obsidian nodes at the base of the mountain before flying the rest of the way up.
Whoa, what is that? That's definitely new. A mythic snow owl. That's gotta be so fast. How do you make mythic kibble? Yeah, we're far away from making that.
So yeah, I'm not going to be able to tame that mythic snow owl for a while, but I can farm this obsidian, which is way less fun, but I do need to do it. Moving on, I got all the obsidian I needed and I returned back to my base. But when I got back, there was another chicken inside my base, but I did tame it and I named it Breakfast.
Alright, no more chickens. I now have 3 chickens. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Anyway, back to doing productive stuff. I crafted 80 polymer from the obsidian I farmed. But polymer also takes forever to craft, and I wanted to craft a bed just in case I die at any point, but I didn't have the wood to make it. Fun fact, I actually haven't died yet, so I'd like to keep it that way. Maybe I can go this whole video without dying? I don't really know. Probably not. Anyway, that led me to fly over to the redwoods to get some, but I found a mythic megalosaurus that was under attack. But instead of saving it, I killed it for myself. But once I did actually kill it, as it took forever to kill because the sheer amount of health it had, I got some items.
Oh, what? What did it give me? What are these? XP potions. Primal Simmerant, recharge your stamina, and remove. Ooh, those are very good.
Anyway, I got the wood I needed and returned back to my base and crafted the bed. And the polymer was also finally done crafting, so I pulled the resources and crafted 10 cryopods. And after that, I crafted 1 alpha kibble as well, because I want to tame some alpha dodos as well to craft some elemental kibble. But I can only craft 1 right now, so I'll have to make some more later on once I have better beta egg production. But I can now finally start taming some beta dodos to produce me eggs to make more kibble. And that's what I spent the rest of the day doing.
Alright, there's no way I should be able to pick this up.
I was still out taming dodos in the morning of day 25 when I spotted something absolutely terrifying.
Is that Shadow Rock Elemental? Yeah. Nah.
After spotting that Shadow Rock Elemental, I knocked out and tamed another beta dodo not too far down the beach from it. And I tried taming another one across the channel of water, but I may have accidentally killed it.
Oh, come on.
Also, if you didn't know, for female dinos to produce unfertilized eggs over time, a male needs to be nearby so they have mate boost. So don't go taming an army of purely female dinos because you'll have no eggs to show for your efforts. Moving on, I tamed 3 more female beta dodos, and after that, I now have 4 females and 1 male. That'll be more than enough to give me all the beta eggs I'll ever need. And I also spotted the shadow turkey that was super interesting.
What? Nah, I don't want to know. I don't want to know what that thing does.
Anyway, on my way back to my base, I spotted my first demonic Dilophosaurus.
What is that?
Well, that's just terrifying to know that's right outside of my base. So just as a precaution, I moved most of my important dinos inside my base just in case that demonic dilo gets too close. And after that, I began throwing my dodos out of their cryopod. Just kidding, none of that happened because...
Oh, I just crashed, man.
And when I logged back in, I was falling out of the sky, but I managed to save myself with one of my reusable parachutes. And I then returned to my base and threw out all my beta dinos like I first intended to do. And I was cryo-sicking most of them, but they would all wake up soon and start producing me some eggs. So now moving on, I decided I wanted to craft a refrigerated trough from the automated Ark mod that I had installed. This mod adds this trough as well as a few other normal structures just with extra inventory spots or other quality of life mechanics. But to craft this trough, I need an automated Ark workbench. So I pulled all the resources to craft one of those pretty easily as it only costed some hide and wood. And once I placed it, I crafted my trough as it only required some metal ingots and wood. That's honestly much better than crafting a normal trough that requires raw metal for whatever reason. Anyway, I placed the trough down but saw that it was unpowered. I guess I needed an automated Ark generator to run it, and to craft that I needed an automated Ark fabricator. I know this is a lot of confusing high-tech mod stuff, but trust me, this will all be worth it. Anyway, I'm currently unable to afford this fabricator. I know, it's broke boy season, okay? Anyway, I have to do some farming. So I set out to the volcano on my RG to farm metal and crystal, and then I returned home. And once some of the metal had finished smelting in the Chaos Forge, I was able to craft this tiny fabricator.
Why is it so tiny?
But even though it was tiny, it still worked like a normal fabricator as well as a modded one. So I ended up just demolishing my normal fabricator to get the resources back. And after that, I combined pearls and metal to craft 10 electronics. And I then combined those electronics with more metal to craft an automated Ark generator. And that allowed me to finally power my base and the trough, which I then filled with raw meat and berries that I farmed with my iguanodon. And this trough had a giant range.
Oh, that's a big feeding range. Okay.
You see that green circle? Any of my dinos that are inside of it will get fed by this trough. That is awesome. Day 20 26, and now that my base is powered, I can worry about other things. And by other things, I mean metal. I really don't like doing these little metal runs with my pickaxe, so I think it's now as good a time as any to try and find an Ankylo to tame. And that started with me first crafting some modern narcotics to make trank arrows, as I really don't want to use any of these normal arrows, even though I have a lot of them. And I then crafted some beta and alpha kibble, because I really don't care which Anky I have to tame, just not a normal one. But honestly, I think I'd prefer an alpha. So I made a few more pieces of alpha kibble just in case. Anyway, once I finally have enough tranks where I thought I'd be able to comfortably knock out and tame a modded Anky, I set out to find one. I searched the mountains, the redwoods, the plains, and these nuts. I'm sorry, that's just kind of my way of telling you I didn't find any Ankys to tame. Like, I flew around for a solid 20 minutes but didn't find anything. Bruh. That is until I found myself an Ankylo all alone. And it was a level 140. I mean, I would have tamed any level over 100, but this is nice. Like, really nice. Like, super nice. Yeah, the Ankylo did not put up much of a fight, and it barely even tried to run, so I managed to knock it out and tame it pretty easily. I seriously do love that modded creatures nearly insta-tame with their kibble. It's really nice. Anyway, I didn't give the Ankylo a name, however, because I'm pretty sure I just forgot, but I did get the Anky back to my base, and I did have a journeyman saddle for it. I don't know when I got it, but I did. Anyway, I hopped on the back of my RG, swooped up my Anky, and then set out for the volcano to farm metal and obsidian. And I farmed a little bit of obsidian, but I farmed an absolute ton of metal. Like, an absolute ton. I finished farming the last few metal nodes on this run in the morning of day 28. I just farmed over 27 stacks of raw metal, so that should give me around, okay, 27 times 300 divided by 2 plus the extra 55 metal. I don't know, it'll give me a lot of metal ingots and I shouldn't have to farm anymore for a while. Anyway, I picked my Anky back up with my RG and slowly flew back home as my RG was carrying a lot of weight. But once I did get there, I realized that all of my metal wasn't going to fit into just one of my chaos forges. So obviously, I pulled the resources and then crafted another chaos forge. And I placed it on the small platform above my smithies and fabricators save space on the floor. And once I placed it down, I crafted what I thought was a transfer gun so I could evenly split the metal between the two forges. But when I tried to use it, it picked up the structures that I was looking at, so that's definitely not a transfer gun. So after placing the stone structures back down, I manually split the metal evenly between the two forges because I couldn't figure out if I had a transfer gun or not. But I then also put just over 2 stacks of wood into both forges as I thought it'd be enough to smelt all the metal. Now moving on, my beta dodos were finally all awake and producing eggs now. But my Oviraptor wasn't in range of them, so I moved it a little bit closer to them. So I can now pretty much produce all the alpha kibble I want. But I will say the Oviraptor's range for picking up eggs is super small. When I have more dinos laying fertilized and unfertilized eggs later on, I'm gonna need a few more Oviraptors to keep up with them. But more importantly, now that I can produce a good supply of alpha kibble, I want to start taming alpha boss dinos. More specifically, alpha rexes, as I want to kill the alpha megapithecus first, and I'll also use them to take down the alpha overseer. Anyway, I don't actually have the trank arrows to be able to knock out a rex right now, let alone 2 alpha rexes with their insane amount of torpor. So I spent the rest of the day flying all around the map killing smaller alpha dinos for their alpha blood. I was still using green goblin to take down dinos for their blood, so I wasn't able to easily take down creatures that'll give a ton of blood like paracers or brontos because they're just too big. I was out by the green obelisk in the morning of day 29. My mass genocide on alpha dinos had taken me out there, and I'd gotten around 150 alpha blood when I decided to pack it in and head back home. But I did stop to loot a green drop on the way home, which gave me some paste, a few wooden gates, and some chowders. Anyway, I finally made my way back to my base where I crafted 24 alpha narcotics. Yeah, that's definitely not going to be able to enough to take down a high level alpha rex when I find one. So I had to farm some more narco berries with my iguanodon to craft more narcotics. I do want to tame a bronto soon because farming berries with my iguanodon is honestly kind of butt cheeks. Anyway, I was able to craft more alpha narcotics and eventually 29 alpha trank arrows after staring into the preserving bin for a few minutes. Yeah, it's pretty easy to tell when I'm either on my phone while recording or just taking a leak. Anyway, I now have 31 alpha trank arrows and 13 potent trank arrows. And I also now have 3 alpha kibble. I'm a baller like that. And speaking of being a baller, there was a yellow drop with a ring coming down right outside my base with some insane new drip from my RG. Sorry, that was really cringe. Anyway, I'm trying to say that there was a Mastercraft RG saddle, some decent pieces of fur armor, and a flak blueprint I'll probably never craft. But now, no more distractions. I'm not gonna stop searching until I find a high level alpha rex to tame. I could probably get away with taming a bad level simply because alpha creatures are so much stronger than normal ones, but I want the most powerful army I could get. I'm not gonna let what happened in my vanilla island 100 days happen again. That was terrible. Day 30 and I found a 150. Yeah, I was expecting to spend a lot more time searching for one. Anyway, it's great that I actually found this, but looking at how much torpor it has, I'm not totally confident that I'll be able to knock it out with the amount of trank arrows that I have. So just to play it safe, I'm gonna fly back to my base and farm a few more narcotics, because I'm really not trying to throw this tame. Anyway, I flew back across the map to my base, killing a few small alpha dinos on the way to get more alpha blood. I forgot to mention that this Rex was actually in the bottom right of the map across the sea from the herbivore island, so the flight time was really long. Anyway, when I did actually make it back to my base, I didn't stay there for too long, mostly because I needed to farm way more alpha blood than when I got on the way back. So that pretty much consisted of me killing parasaurs mostly, since there are a bazillion of them surrounding my base. But once I finally had a sufficient amount of alpha blood, I put it all in the chaos smithy before having to farm some more narco berries with my iguanodon. Seriously, I want to tame a bronto to farm berries soon. I can't keep doing this. Anyway, I got a few stacks of narco berries, turned them into narcotics, made stone arrows, and then finally made more alpha trank arrows. Now all I gotta do is fly all the way back across the map again. But when I finally got back out there at the very end of the day, I realized I didn't have a trap to tame it. So I now have to farm 4 stone gates by hand. Bruh. Now this video was recorded over the holidays, Christmas to be specific. So there was actually a giant gap between me recording day 30 and day 31. And even if all I do sometimes is just play this dinosaur game, sometimes I forget what I'm doing.
Alright, I just logged in after about like 10 days of not playing. I'm pretty sure I'm taming a Rex, since I have start of a Rex trap. That's it. Okay, yeah, we're taming a Rex.
Now that I know what I'm actually doing now, I have to finish farming up this trap. Alright, I have the 4 gates that I need to actually trap this Rex, but now I have to actually trap the Rex.
Yo, why is there so many dangerous things around here?
Yeah, so this doesn't seem to be the safest area to tame a Rex, and something is glowing over there and it looks to be on fire. There was a mythic trike that was dead, but the glowing seems to have stopped, so maybe this area is safe now? I don't know, probably not, but I'm just gonna try and quickly tame this Rex. Anyway, I assembled the trap like a Lego master builder, but I had a lot more trouble actually getting the Rex inside the trap. I think it was a combination of the AI being too stupid and too smart at the same time. The Rex also hit like a truck when I was trying to get it in, which definitely didn't make it any easier for me.
Shoot, oh my god. Yo, he hits hard. I mean, that'll be good for me once I tame him, but like...
But after a little more struggle and my PT getting bit a few more times, I finally got the Rex stuck in the trap.
I think I got it, but oh, that thing hits like a truck.
But it's now time to knock this Rex out and make it mine.
What? I'm gonna go over here. I don't like when stuff glows.
After moving my PT and putting a few more tranks into the Rex, it fell over like a ton of bricks, but it was unconscious.
Yes! Oh, it's ours, it's ours, it's ours. Oh my god, this thing is insane. Alright, its health is insane, but its melee is kind of mid. That's fine though. Its health is super good already, so we can just level straight into melee.
Yeah, to say it lightly, this Rex alone is insane. And once I have an army of these things that are all imprinted, probably with good saddles, I'm gonna absolutely destroy every boss. Anyway, that's still far, far away, so for now, I picked up my gates and took the long flight back to my base. And once I did finally make it back to my base, I unlocked the Rex saddling ground. But before that, I put down some chickens, because I'm honestly getting really tired of them. They only spawn inside my base and they just run around making noise. Anyway, I was only missing a few pieces of fiber to craft a Rex saddle, so I took my beta sickle right outside my base and swung it over a few bushes. And just like that, I now have a Rex saddle. So after yoinking it from the smithy, I threw my newly tamed Rex out of the cryopod and killed everything I could get his teeth on.
Oh my, that is base.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see those small green numbers on the screen right now, but this guy is putting out over 1400 damage a bite without imprint and without leveling. I would be having severe diarrhea if I was a Megapithecus right now. Anyway, I spent most of the day killing nearby dinos, collecting blood, and leveling up my Rex. But I did also do some narcoberry farming and alpha trank crafting because you boys gotta stay on that taming boss dino grind. Day 32 and I have just under 50 alpha trank arrows and 3 pieces of alpha kibble. I think you can see where I'm going with this. I want to tame a female alpha Rex pretty soon now. I didn't start taming boss dinos until about halfway through my last 100 days. And I'm pretty sure that was what caused me to go way over 100 days. And honestly, I don't want that to happen again, so I'm getting on it this time. Anyway, I now have all that I need to tame another Rex. So I got on the back of Green Goblin and set back out. But it's looking like I'm not gonna have near the luck I had last time. That's to be expected though. I first checked back out by the Green Obelisk and where I tamed a level 150 last time in case that spot was super lucky or anything, but it wasn't. But however, I paused the search for a good female when I spotted a few bad Rexes and I realized I need to kill these ones respawn so that other good ones could spawn in. So that led me to fly back to my base and put my current Rex back in a cryopod. And I also made the smart decision of crafting a large bear trap that should make trapping a Rex when I find it much easier. And after that, I spent the whole rest of the day looking for another one to tame. And I didn't find another Rex I wanted to tame, but I did have an idea. While I was out searching around Carno Island, I saw a few electric griffins. None that were high level enough to be worth taming, but I think I want to pause looking for another Rex to tame until I get me one of these bad boys. Moving around the map on the back of Green Goblin isn't bad, but being on the back of a griffin, let alone a modded one, will make searching for dinos way faster. So I decided to make a U-turn and start flying back to my base at the end of the day. But I did make one more pit stop to tame a female alpha dodo on the way back. I made it back to my base a few minutes into day 33, and I threw out my newly tamed alpha dodo next to the one that I've had for a little bit. They're both females, so I have to tame another male, but I'm probably gonna try and tame a couple more females as well. I'm gonna need elemental kibble to tame the electric griffin, so that requires a few more alpha eggs. I'm pretty sure I only have one egg at most right now, so I need to tame a few more dodos before I work towards taming this griffin. Anyway, I set out with alpha kibble that I already made for taming the Rex, so I can always make more. And I managed to find and tame a male right away, but I wasn't able to find any other females after a few more minutes of searching, so I returned home. 2 females should be able to produce me enough eggs for now. But going off topic, I want an automated Ark industrial cooker. I'm tired of using campfires, and I need cooked prime meat to make elemental kibble, so an industrial cooker is gonna be required. But I was missing the oil, I need to make one, so I made a quick trip out to the snow and the icebergs to farm the few oil rocks there. It's still hard for me to differentiate between normal rocks and oil rocks now since they were changed in Ark Survival Ascended. But anyway, I got the oil back to my base and I was able to pull together the resources to make a cooker.
I'm gonna put the grill right next to the chickens.
It's cruel, but I seriously am getting tired of chickens in my base. After that, I flew down below my base and threw out my Rex out of its cryopod to farm some prime meat for kibble. And I was also getting small amounts of modded hide and blood for future use. And I also looted a yellow drop with a ring that was nearby, but I didn't get anything good out of it.
What is that? A shadow arthropleura. I don't want to fight that. That's terrifying.
Anyway, I farmed some more raw prime meat and blood before going back to my base and cooking it. I did have to get some more gas, however, as the generator had run out. But I decided to first set my sights on a fridge for automated Ark as well. I still had all my spoilables in a preserving bin, which isn't great, so I want to change that before I have tons of eggs and kibble. So just before the end of the day, I crafted 25 more hard polymer. Day 34, however, I started looking for more female alpha dodos to tame because apparently 2 isn't enough for me. It took me a little while to find any because I had done a dino wipe recently to keep dinos spawning incorrectly. But I eventually found one in a fight, so I scooped it up and took it to another beach to tame it. And after I tamed that one, I quickly spotted another one down on the beach. But it was right next to a beta dodo that would get in the way of me taming it. So I had to hit a quick trick shot on it to get it out of the way. Oh, baby! And yeah, after hitting that sick clip on that unsuspecting dodo, I tamed the alpha one that was right next to it. And after that, I made my way back to my base and threw out both of the dodos out of their cryopods. One did have cryo sickness though because I'm too lazy to wait for the 5-minute timer. But it's legit not even 5 minutes since having single player settings on makes the time go down way faster. Anyway, after that, I was browsing through the Chaos Smithy when I spotted mythic trank darts. They're 25 times stronger than normal trank darts, so I really want some to knock out this griffin. The problem is they're expensive. I can't get my hands on mythic blood that's needed to make them that easily, so I'll only be able to make a few, if that. But I did start with making a long neck so I can actually shoot the darts once I get them. And later on, I crafted my first 2 elemental kibble. I needed a couple more alpha eggs to get to 3 that I'll probably need to tame a high level electric griffin when I find one. But it was just a few minutes later when I did have the last kibble made. And after that, I have pretty much everything I needed.
Okay, so I can now tame another alpha rex or an electric griffin, whichever I come across first, but I'm really hoping for an electric griffin to get around faster.
So yeah, I can now either tame a rex or a griffin. And I decided to just say screw it and not get any mythic darts right now because I'm pretty sure I'll be able to knock out a griffin with the amount of arrows I have. I'll just have to find out when I find one. Started day 35 out by the northeastern mountain. I'm not 100% sure where these griffins are guaranteed to spawn, but so far it looks like they mainly spawn where RGs do. So I was making sure to circle all the mountainous regions, and I'm flying out to Carno Island right now because a ton of RGs spawn out there as well.
Oh! That's exactly what I'm looking for. That thing has a lot of torpor. I can't knock it out.
Yeah, so that electric griffin would be perfect for me. It's a level 140. But the problem is that it has 140,000 torpor, and I only have 48 alpha trank arrows. And since each alpha trank arrow only does an average about 2,000 torpor, I can only output about, I don't have enough tranks, okay?
Gotta fly all the way back across the map again though. Bruh.
So anyway, I made the long flight back to my base, and I made the decision on the way back that I'm gonna gonna bite the bullet and farm up some of those mythic trank darts. So I made some gunpowder, which I eventually turned into rifle bullets, but even after all that, I was only able to put together 2 mythic trank darts. The reason they're so expensive is that each dart requires 2 mythic narcotics, 1 mythic metal ingot, and 1 rifle bullet. So each dart requires a total of 8 mythic blood, which honestly doesn't sound like a lot, but mythic dinos have a very low chance to actually spawn, so it's pretty hard to farm the blood that is needed. But I'm gonna do what I gotta do to get more darts. And that first started with me farming some more narco berries with my iguanodon. But while I was farming the berries, I spotted an elemental otter.
Is that an otter? What? I have to tame that.
Basically, I can get a giant kipper. And for those of you who don't know who Kipper is what I name my otter whenever I tame one. But I have a problem of actually keeping him alive, so sometimes there are multiple kippers in one video. It's a problem, but maybe if I have a giant powerful kipper, we will be fine. Anyway, I can't worry about that right now though, because I need to tame this electric griffin. So I finished farming narco berries, but I was once again distracted when one of my alpha dodos died inside my base. I thought something was in my base, meat running all my dinos, but it turns out the bird just starved to death. Dinos lose food pretty fast when they're unconscious, and I didn't have any food in the trough, so I guess this guy just never ate after waking up from cryo sickness. But it's fine, I can do without one alpha dodo. Now I have to farm mythic blood. Mythic dinos are 25 times stronger than normal dinos if I remember correctly, though they have a ton of health and put out a decent amount of damage even if they're low level. So that's why I decided to use my Rex to farm the blood to reduce the risk of any casualties. And I managed to kill a mythic jerboa and a few mythic monkeys before I was jumped in the redwoods.
Whoa, whoa, it's electric. Help, 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 help. Kill it faster. I died.
The reason I sound so shocked that I died because that was actually my first time dying in this video so far. I'm not playing hardcore obviously, but I'd say going 35 days in a mod as crazy as this is pretty good. Anyway, I respawned back in my bed, which I luckily had decided it was a good idea to craft and place a little bit ago. And I flew my RG back over to my own murder site where I was able to get on my Rex, but I was once again jump scared by the same Thylo.
There's another! Wait, that's the same one. Oh, it missed me. Jeez.
Anyway, I put my Rex back in the cryopod and returned back to my base. And I then repaired my flak armor and was able to craft 2 more mythic trank darts and a few more alpha trank arrows before the end of the day.
Alright, I should finally have enough of everything that I need to tame this thing.
So I now should be able to tame this electric griffin. I really hope I can because I do not feel like doing any more work for it. So anyway, I set back out for Carno Island. And I did spot a Hydro Rex on the way back out there, but it wasn't near enough high level for me to actually consider taming it. And besides, I have to stay locked in on the real prize. Luckily, when I arrived, the griffin was still there.
Alright, we're gonna try and kite it and tame it over on this little island so it's safe.
So I set up the 4 stone gate trap that I also used for taming a Rex earlier.
Alright, let's hope this goes well. Because I remember the last time I got jump scared by one of these things.
What happened next is what I can only describe as 3 minutes of pure mental abuse. It was 3 minutes of me leading the electric griffin into the trap multiple times, it getting out because of it actually being smart, or me not closing the trap fast enough. And this happened over and over, but eventually it happened.
Oh, now I can hit my bird. Okay, I think it's trapped though.
My bird did have to take a few hard hits, but I was finally able to get the griffin inside the trap. So I then shot my 4 mythic trank darts into it, which it then shot up to over 20,000 torpor out of 140,000. But I was more worried about the griffin getting out of the trap, since it looks like its hitbox was just barely big enough to stay inside the gates.
Dude, it really looks like it can get out.
But to my surprise and delight, the griffin wasn't able to get out, and I had more than enough alpha tranks to finish the job.
Yes, it's out.
And I shoved my elemental kibble into it right away, and I actually only needed 2, so I had 1 left over.
Yes! Yes! We got it! Oh my, this thing's gonna be a beast. Alright, let's cryo up this Pteranodon, and we're taking this for a test ride.
Anyway, I named my newly tamed griffin Leonida, and as you can probably tell, I'm very excited to have this griffin as my main flyer now. But what I forgot to think about is, it's probably been just less than a year since I've last flown a griffin or any flying dino with a swoop mechanic, and that sadly led me to be very bad at flying. So bad to the point where I actually flew into the water, got dismounted from my griffin, and then was torn apart by mantas as my griffin hovered above the water surface.
Oh! Come on. Come on! You're joking. Push me to shore. Push me to shore! Move! Stop!
So it seems that me dying yesterday has set off a new trend. Anyway, I spawned back in on a beach that was nearby and began running back to where I died. And I had to outrun some modded dodos, which gave me primal fear flashbacks, but I managed to get my stuff and get on my griffin safely. That was pretty traumatic, I can't lie. Moving on, I finally began flying back home. But that's when I spotted a level 110 alpha Rex in a clearing on the side of the mountain. And taking a closer look, I found the perfect Rex I needed to start my boss fighting army.
Oh, female 140. It's exactly what we need. Alright, we're gonna come back to tame this.
So with that new goal in mind of taming that Rex, I began the now short flight back to my base as this Griffin is super fast. And I also tested about how much damage it could put out when I was doing this diving swoop attack thing. I don't know what to call it. I need a name for it.
Alright, perfect. How much damage is this thing doing? 5,000?
Anyway, the Griffin put out a ton of damage as well, but I wanted more, so I devised a plan to get the perfect stats on this guy.
It's got so much stamina already. I'm just gonna get 100k health and then straight melee.
Anyway, I spent the rest of the day killing nearby dinos to level up my Griffin and get more blood. I wanted to use mythic trank darts to knock out the Rex since they're so good, so I also ended up crafting some more mythic narcotics just before the end of the day. I'm still out trying to farm blood and levels in the morning of day 37, and that's when I spotted a shadow rock elemental. My Griffin now does about 7,000 damage per swipe, so it only took a few attacks to take it down, but it turned out to be a complete waste of my time because I didn't get any loot from killing it or any blood or hide. Anyway, I moved on with my life and discovered how to use the electric ability my Griffin has, since it's an electric Griffin. Duh.
Oh, when you just do normal attacks, then it shocks it, so it can't move.
I would finish my killing spree in a few minutes, but before that, I finally realized how much damage my Griffin was actually able to do if I hit a headshot while using the diving attack.
Oh! If you hit a headshot, it's 25,000 damage. Okay. Yep. I can kill anything.
Anyway, after that, I finally finished my spree and returned back to my base with over 100 mythic blood. And after some masterful crafting and chemistry, I managed to put together 12 mythic trank darts. And I had over 30 alpha trank arrows just in case.
Alright. Let's go tame this Rex.
So I flew out to the northeastern mountain on my super fast Griffin and once again located the Rex. And I assembled a trap on this cliff that was sticking out, but there were some giant rocks in the way that may propose a problem when I'm actually trying to trap the Rex. Screw it, we'll ball. So I spent the next few minutes trying to get this lovely looking lady into the trap, but it was not going well. The rocks were in the way and its AI was being super annoying. So I decided I'll just shoot tranks into it off the back of my Griffin. And after putting all 12 trank darts into the Rex, it had just under 60,000 torpor. And it only needed 12,000 more to knock out, so I finished the job with alpha trank arrows. And I then put the alpha kibble into the Rex and had to swerve our rogue electric RG from it, but it tamed out to be alright.
Alright, so the male came out better, but we can breed these stats out. It's not a big deal. We now have a breeding pair of Rexes on day 37 though. That's really good.
Moving on, I put the Rex in a cryopod and flew down to a nearby beach to get some water before flying back to my base. And I did actually crash 2 times on the way home, just because the game likes to do that every once in a while. But once I finally did make it home, I didn't throw out my Rexes right away. I wanted to craft an automated Ark fridge, so I can finally upgrade from keeping all my spoilables in a preserving bin. But I need more crystals, so I repaired both of my alpha tools and made a quick trip up to the volcano. And once I had all that I needed, I returned home and made the automated fridge with 1,000 slots. I'm never gonna run out of space now. So after transferring all my spoilables, I decided to lay out my plans for my base expansion.
Alright, but now that I have a breeding pair of Rexes, I want to expand my base area. I want to build, I think, a wall from that pillar to this pillar, and then from this pillar to the ledge. And that should give me enough space to breed all 3 boss fighting armies that I need. I don't even think I can fit 1 boss army into the area I currently have. But I actually need to build some walls to protect my dinos since there's actually dangerous stuff that could kill them.
So with that plan on my mind, I need to start farming. I plan to use gates as the walls so I can easily get dinosaurs in and out. And I also plan to place some spike walls just to defend the areas that are a little weaker. I really don't want anything to get into my base and kill my tames. So I first started with farming a bunch of stone with my Dodic. And I then flew over to the redwoods and farmed some wood and thatch. I'm starting to have PTSD flashbacks to when I was building my castle. Anyway, I was now able to craft 2 behemoth gates, and the rest of the day went a little bit like this. The first part of day 39 was pretty slow to say the least. I finished farming and placing the gates. I also added some spike walls around where the gates and rocks met to try and secure the area a little bit more. And now that I have a lot more space and it's safe, I think it's time to start working on my boss fighting army. And I also now have my first fertilized Rex egg. But anyway, I need to get a few air conditioners to actually hatch this egg and future eggs. I discovered there were automated air conditioners that are probably more effective than normal air conditioners, so I decided to plan on crafting those. The crafting requirements for them are a little bit different though, but they're not too far off. And I'm just short out of the amount of silica pearls I need, so I mounted my electric Griffin and flew over to where there are a bunch of those little icebergs. There are a few pearls under the water that I can easily get, and luckily I was just short a few pearls because I barely got any from these nodes. And I did also loot a blue drop with a ring and got another behemoth gate among other things. But after I got the pearls, I returned to my base, crafted more polymer, and got another fertilized alpha egg. And just before the end of the day, I managed to craft 2 automated air conditioners. I honestly don't know how powerful these things are, but I'm hoping I don't have to farm more because I basically basically drained all of my expensive resources right now. Day 40, and I'm gonna place these air conditioners on a small platform right outside my castle. But I'm currently too broke to make the foundations to actually place the air conditioners on, so let me quickly do that. Alright, I have the 4 stone foundations, and I'm gonna plop them down right here, and then place the air conditioners on top, just like this. And luckily, just these 2 air conditioners were more than enough to be able to hatch this egg. The range of my generator is also very big, so I don't have to worry about making another one outside of my castle. Anyway, I put the air conditioners to use right away by incubating my first 3 alpha rex eggs. Remember, I still have to get the best stats on a breeding pair before I start going balls to the walls and raising the army. But since the male has both the better stats, I only need to get a female with the stats, so this shouldn't take too long. And while the eggs are incubated, I decided to take Leonida out and farm some meat quickly to feed the babies if they're actually worth raising. But they weren't. All 3 eggs hatched, and they were all either males or a female that didn't have the stats I was looking for. So I put them all down painlessly with my griffin. Who am I kidding? It wasn't painless at all. But after I killed all the babies, I noticed an alpha oviraptor right under my base. I want another oviraptor to chill by my rexes and pick up fertilized eggs. So I picked up the oviraptor, dropped it inside my base, and nailed it with a trank arrow in the butt and fed it some alpha kibble to tame it. And I moved it right under my rexes instantly, so I'll never have to worry about picking up rex eggs ever again. Speaking of eggs, I hatched another, but it was bad, so I killed it. It's a cold world, and I'm only making it colder, but I have bosses to kill. Everything comes at a price, and sometimes killing babies is the answer. Alright, that sounds horrible. Next clip. Anyway, just after that, I hatched another egg, and it actually came out as a female with the good stats. So you, my friend, you reserve the right to keep living. Congrats. I spent the rest of the day raising the baby. However, I did have some trouble getting an imprint on the baby. Either I had messed up my breeding settings since I last recorded my last video, or raising modded creatures messes it up. Anyway, after a little bit of struggle and some setting changing, I managed to get 100% imprint on the female by the end of the day. And before putting any levels into it, it had over 63,000 health. If I don't roll through these bosses, I'm gonna be mad. There's a random hydro turtle in my base. Is this Blastoise? I don't know. I killed it. Just thought I should let you guys know. A few minutes after that, the perfect female baby matured into an adult. So I then lined up the 2 perfect rexes and an oviraptor, and I will have hundreds of OP rex eggs before I know it. After making sure the oviraptor did its job and picked up the egg the rexes laid, I decided to take a gander at how much range my feeding trough actually covered. If I'm gonna raise boss armies, I'm gonna need to feed them. But luckily, this automated trough has a huge range.
That one trough covers my whole base.
Moving on, I want to leave my rexes alone for a little while so I can build up a decent stash of rex eggs to raise in 2 big batches. And while that happens, I want to at least tame an elemental or alpha thyla for caving and artifact retrievement purposes. So I pulled the resources from my fridge and crafted 3 elemental kibble and 3 alpha kibble. I don't really mind what thyla I tame, but I can tame a lower level elemental thyla simply because they're more powerful than the alpha variants. Also, their special abilities might come in handy. Who knows? So once I had the kibble, I crafted another canteen to keep myself hydrated, but I then set off into the redwoods on the back of Leonida looking for a thyla to actually tame. And it didn't take me too long to find a level 55 electric thyla. It doesn't sound too good, but actually look at those base stats. I'll be able to run through any cave with those stats already, and it would only take 1 elemental kill to tame it, so I decided to actually do tame it.
It can't hit me for some reason. This has to be like a glitch with electric dinos, because the griffin couldn't hit me either until it finally did hit me.
I think there's a glitch with electric dinos or something. I don't know. It could affect other dinos, but they weren't able to hit me that easily. As I said with the griffin, it actually did have a hard time actually damaging my PT. And this thyla is making me look like I'm in god mode, but I swear I'm not. This is a glitch and I'm not complaining about it. Anyway, I got the thyla knocked out and tamed.
Pretty strong already. I'm gonna still fly around the redwood and see if I can find any better ones.
Yeah, so that was actually a lie. I returned to my base and remembered that I actually have wanted to tame a Bronto. I think a beta Bronto would do just fine, so I crafted some beta kibble. But while I was doing that, my oviraptor that was under my rexes was actually killed by a dilo. So I instead spent the rest of the day searching for another one to tame because I really need one under my rexes. But of course, when you're looking for one, you can't find any. I finally found a beta oviraptor on the morning of day 42, but it didn't see me before I shot an alpha trank arrow into it off the back of my electric griffin. And the oviraptor tamed instantly with some beta kibble, and I put it in a cryopod and took back off towards my base. And after flying past a drop that was somehow stuck in the sky, I arrived at my base to see that there was more dinos inside the walls of my base. There was a dilo, so I took it out so it couldn't kill the oviraptor that I just tamed. Don't really want history to repeat itself with this one. But this is gonna be a bigger problem later on. I built these walls to keep the dinos out, but they literally spawn inside. So I'm considering putting a bunch of thatch foundations down inside the walls to hopefully block all the spawns. But I'll probably put put up another wall of spikes to create another section so I can safely breed my boss fighting dinos. Maybe that'll solve my problem. Anyway, moving on, I got my new Oviraptor set up under my Rexes and I flew back into the redwoods. I decided to check the giant trees once again to see if I could find any better Thylas. I'm not totally content with my low level electric Thyla, but if I don't find anything, this Thyla should be able to handle the cave still. 5 minutes later, and you can probably tell by my tone that I didn't find any Thylas worth taming. And I even killed a bunch of them to try and get better levels to spawn, but nothing. Anyway, while I was still in the redwoods, I spotted a herd of 3 beta Brontos. And if you can remember, I want a beta Bronto for myself. They were all low levels, so I locked in on one and shot a few alpha trank arrows into it until it fell asleep. And I then killed the other Brontos while it was unconscious. Listen, it doesn't know that I killed its friends while it's asleep, so what's the big issue? I still have beta kibble in my inventory, so I tamed the Bronto, but I had some trouble getting it into a cryopod because of a Diplo who decided to just make my life harder.
Why are you like this? Oh my god.
I then killed the Diplo and decided that I'll use its hide to craft my Bronto saddle. So if you've learned anything from this little excursion, just know not to make me mad, or I might skin you.
What?
Moving on, I returned to my base and saw that I was short on fiber to craft the Bronto saddle. So I assaulted some bushes with a sickle, then crafted a saddle for my new green friend. And after that, I farmed a bunch of narco berries with my new Bronto, and it was much better than farming with my Iguanodon. Now, I have something kind of embarrassing to tell you guys. Towards the end of the day, I actually threw out my Electro-Thyla out of its cryopod with cryo sickness, and it has quite a lot of torpor to drain still, so I think I'm gonna have to tame another Thyla, even if it's a low level, simply because I just don't want to wait for this one to wake up. But I didn't have to look for too long until I found another electric Thyla that was also level 55, so I proceeded to knock it out once again as it couldn't hit me. Electric Dinos definitely had some sort of glitch while I was recording this, but I didn't have any elemental kibble on hand, so I did have to return back to my base to get it, but I managed to tame the Thyla alright. And once back at my base, I farmed some more fiber to craft a Thyla saddle just before the end of the day. Day 43 started with crafting more alpha narcotics and eventually alpha trank arrows, but I wasn't crafting these to tame a new creature, more of to endlessly knock out one over and over again until it loses the will to live. Okay, losing the will to live might be a lie, but what I'm trying to say is that I'm gonna use these tranks to knock out a Megalania over and over again so I can get all the Megalania toxin I need. I need 10 toxin to start the Alpha Megapithecus boss fight, and if you didn't know, anytime you knock out a creature that has tributes in its inventory, it'll wake up with more as long as you take the first ones out. And I don't know if I've ever said this, but I actually hate looking for Megalanias to kill. They're always in caves, hanging from the ceiling or something stupid, so I'd rather just spend a longer time bullying one over and over to get the toxin I need than hunt 5 down. So now that I've explained my plans, I had a newly tamed Thyla in a cryopod and I flew out to the Carno Island. When I arrived, I did have to take down some creatures that were blocking the cave entrance, but it wasn't hard at all since my Griffin is insane. And I then put my Griffin in a cryopod and made my way into the cave with a Thyla. And immediately after emerging from the small pool of water, I found a red drop which had an ascendant compound bow with over 400 damage on it. I mean, I'll probably never use it, but it's really cool to have. Alright, I'm here for Megalanias and Megalanias only. I need to stay focused. I made my way down to the cave, killing tons of bats and spiders as I went with ease because my Electro Thyla was putting out over 1,000 damage a bite. I knew it would be worth taming another electric variant. Anyway, to my delight, there was one Megalania who was all alone. That is, after I killed hundreds of his cave-dwelling friends. Anyway, I began the process of knocking it out and extracting the toxin over and over again. And I did also retrieve the artifact of the Devourer, which I also need to start the Alpha Megapithecus boss fight. But then another peculiar thing happened during this time. I noticed I got a Christmas present from killing a dino, and I decided to open it.
What? What mod adds Christmas present? Why did I just get Element? That's crazy. I can't even use it. I mean, it's only 2, but...
Anyway, it's nice that I now have 2 element that I can't use. More importantly though, I finished today with having 8 of the 10 toxin I needed. So I'll have to wait for this poor guy to wake up one more time so I can re-knock him out. The Megalania took just under 5 minutes to wake up into day 44. And you guessed it, I knocked it out again.
Finally, dude. Got all that I need.
And before leaving, I decided to let the Megalania live after the actual hell I just put it through. Just kidding, I killed it on my way out. And speaking of my way out, I first scaled the walls to get out, and just before I was about to leave the cave, I crashed.
Oh, I crashed.
The crash didn't send me far back, however. I logged back in, threw out my Griffin, and then left the island, never to return again. Probably. But flying back to my base took a little longer than expected. Mostly because I crashed once again as soon as I started flying over the mainland. But once again, I logged back in and continued with my mission. And once I got back to my base, I deposited my new tributes and then started to stare off into space for a little bit. But what I was actually doing was deciding what to do. And after a few minutes of pondering my existence, I decided it's time to start raising my boss fighting Rex army. But I'm running pretty low on raw meat to feed my carnivores right right now, so I took off on my griffin and spent a few minutes committing mass genocide. But this genocide was only motivated for the high amounts of meat. That sounded weird. Anyway, I got all the red stuff that feeds my carnivores that I'll ever need, and I deposited it in a trough and began incubating my first batch of Rex eggs. And the babies all hatched a few minutes later, and I then proceeded to name them all boss, so I knew exactly which of them were bred to fight. But a few minutes after that, I realized a big mistake. I somehow had messed up my imprinting settings once again, and I wouldn't be able to get 100% imprint on any of them. Imprinting gives a big boost to the Rex stats, so I really don't want them to go without it. So that thinking led me to commit mass baby Rex genocide. I killed all of them except for 2. I kept these 2 alive so I could use them to get more Rex eggs because it takes me a few days to accumulate a decent amount of eggs. And I also plan to use the baby Rexes as my main way of power leveling my boss fighting army, so I'm gonna need a lot of eggs. But yeah, I didn't do anything for the rest of the day. I'm raising a new batch of baby Rexes in the morning of day 45, and I made sure to only hatch 1 egg first at a time to make sure I had my imprinting stats set right. And I did, so I laid out the rest of the eggs to have to incubate and hatch as well. And I then spent the next 10 minutes raising the babies until I could get them all up to 100% imprint, and to where I don't have to worry about them starving. And it's by this time that the 2 Rexes I spared from the last mass murder were now fully grown, so I wanted them to start producing some eggs as well. But once again, I ran into Oviraptor problems. The one Oviraptor that I did have under my Rexes didn't have enough range to be able to pick up all of their eggs, so I need to find and tame another. But luckily, I didn't have too much trouble finding another, as there was a level 45 just right next to my base. But I made the mistake of using beta and alpha eggs to tame it. I had a ton of them because my dodos were producing them for quite a few days now, but the problem was they didn't have that much taming effectiveness, and it was taking so long in fact that I decided to just move my Oviraptor that I had collecting dodo eggs out to under my Rexes. Also, my batch of Rexes that I started raising in the morning are now fully grown. I know my rates are pretty quick, but there's not really a reason for these to take too long, so I then moved my now fully grown Rexes from the hatching area into a nice neat line so I can easily access all of them. And I ended the day by beginning to incubate a new batch of Rexes, and they had all hatched by the morning, and everything was going swell raising them. That is, until it came time to imprint them. I wasn't having a problem with my settings, but more a problem with the whole game. I managed to imprint on a few of the Rexes, but while I was working on doing that, I crashed. I didn't think it would be a big deal as I logged back into the game, but I realized that the babies didn't want an imprint from me anymore. They wanted an imprint from Granty. But I'm Granty. My character name is Granty. How does this make any sense? I guess the game somehow thinks that I'm not on the same character that was used to claim